I am Bob the Canadian, and I'm going to be doing a lesson on connecting and attaching. I think it will be an interesting lesson. We'll see how it goes. In the chat, I was asked by Mode if I thought of this lesson while hooking up my new gimbal. Sort of. I was connecting a lot of things to other things this week, so the thought came to mind that I should do a lesson about this. We'll start in about 17 seconds. Know that asks in the chat, did you have a good evening and night yesterday? I certainly did. Let's, I think we're good. Well, hello everyone. Welcome to this English lesson about connecting and attaching. There are a lot of things in the world, and a lot of those things you can connect to other things, or you can attach them to other things. The words are very, very similar. This past week, I was connecting a trailer to my son's truck. I was connecting a camera to a gimbal. Oh, you can't see it. It's out of the shot right now. I was connecting a whole bunch of wires to my laptop on Tuesday because I wanted to test some things. And I thought, you know what? That would be a great idea for an English lesson. So today we're going to talk about staples and plugging things in and latches and eyelets, tongues, buckles, some strange words, but when I get to the pictures and the slides, you'll understand what I'm talking about. So once again, welcome to this English lesson about connecting and attaching. Before we get started, I do want to say hi to a few people. Thanks, first of all, to New Words with MP, who quite regularly has been gifting memberships to people. That is very often. So Caitlin was gifted a membership by New Words with MP. Thank you so much, New Words, for doing that. Hi to Know That, Lolly Lolly, Dora, Gilmar, Mode Eggs, Yaroslav, Naomi, John Wedge. Let me scroll back here. 7413, Igor, Dave the Canadian is here moderating the chat. Hello to Freddie Wolf, Wanda Prado, Ralph, all of the members who are here as well. Eric, let me scroll back some more. Hafiez, I don't know if Eugene is here yet, but hi to Rabiha. Eugene, hi to Ruslan as well. A lot of familiar names. Very good to see all of you. I hope you're ready to learn a little bit. By the way, Eugene sent me a photo. He visited, I think, CBC Studios, the TV studio in Toronto, and I think he was able to watch an episode of Family Feud. Very, very cool. If he shows up, you should ask him about that. Hi to Huawei and Lily and Dodger and all of you. Should we get started? I think so. I think we'll see. Yes, eyelets, but it might not be the eyelet you're expecting. We'll see when we get to that slide. Do remember, if you want to have good English conversations, do that in the chat. If you have a question, there is a link in the description below, and Nightbot will share the link occasionally to a form that you can fill out to ask a question about this lesson. So I think we should get started. I should do one more audio check here. And should I do my Bob the Canadian focus check? Should we do that? Oh, look at that. Camera's working perfectly. I asked earlier if you thought it was sunny or rainy here. It has been sunny for a few days, but it did rain last night. But I think we had enough days of sun that the rain was welcome. So we're back into a normal time of year. But let's get the lesson started. Hook. So one of the ways that you attach something to something else is you use a hook. The most common hook I can think of is every year at Christmas when we put ornaments on the trees. The ornaments have a hook at the top. So a hook is a piece of metal or wire or plastic that's kind of curved at the top so that you can hook it onto things. We also use hook as a verb. So the Christmas ornament has a hook, but you can also hook it on to the Christmas tree. Lots of fun, very, very enjoyable time. A latch. So our backyard gate has a latch. That's the thing that you use to connect the gate to the rest of the fence. When you close the gate, the latch holds it shut. So latch, let me say it a few more times, latch. Most gates will have a latch. A door will have a knob, but a gate will often have a latch. The only other place I can think where you might find a latch is on like a briefcase. It might have two latches that you close when you close the briefcase, or a suitcase could have a latch as well. But that is definitely one type of latch. And eyelet. So eyelet, any kind of hole that something else goes through is called an eyelet. So you'll see there that there is an eyelet that the hook can go into. The other place you might find eyelets is on a shoe. A shoe has eyelets for the laces to go through. But if you wanted to put this hook on one thing and this eyelet on another, then when they are close enough together, the hook can go into the eyelet, and those two things would be connected. A knot. So a knot is something that you use quite often. You tie a knot in your shoe when you go out, unless you have Velcro instead of laces. If you have a boat, you will tie your boat up to the dock with a knot. So notice this lesson, I'm teaching you vocab words, but I'm using a number of other words when I describe it. So in order to use a knot, you have to tie up. So you tie up your boat using a knot. I'm not sure what kind of knot this is. When I was a kid, I was in like a club where they taught us different kinds of knots. I don't remember learning this knot, but I did learn I think it's the sheepshank knot and the slip knot. There's a couple of different knots in the world. And the square knot, that's a cool knot as well. A hitch. So there are two parts to this vocabulary word or topic. I'm not sure. There are two parts. There's the hitch and the tongue. So this is something you find on the back of some vehicles, some cars, and most trucks will have a hitch on the back. We actually call this a ball hitch because you can see there is a silver ball. And on a trailer, you will find what's called the tongue. Some people do call this the hitch as well, but usually when I'm talking, you have the hitch, which is on the vehicle, and the front of the trailer I would call the tongue. So the tongue nicely fits onto the hitch. So the other day, my son was hooking up his trailer. He has a ball hitch on the back of his truck, and we backed up to the trailer and we put the tongue onto the ball hitch, and he was ready to go with his trailer. So hitch and tongue. Buckle. So the two most common types of buckles are buckles on your pants. So I have a belt buckle right here, or a buckle on a seatbelt. So when you get in a car, in order to be safe, you need to put on your seatbelt. There is a buckle that you need to do up. We often say buckle as a verb. So you need to buckle your seatbelt. Did everyone buckle their seatbelts? Or I might say, is everyone buckled up? That's a common thing to ask your children when they're little. When you get in the car, you put your seatbelt on, you buckle up, and you might say, is everyone buckled up? Or you might say, hey, buckle your seatbelts. It's a funny word, buckle. Every time I say it, it sounds funny to me, buckle. But yes, belt buckle or seatbelt buckle. Socket. So if you use the old kind of light bulbs that screw in, you would screw it into a socket. And yes, this is exactly how you do it. You move your hand really quickly. So the socket is kind of the place where the light bulb screws into. Okay. So when you have a light bulb, it's threaded at the end. That means it has little grooves in a circle spiral. So you can screw it into a socket. Most of our lights, though, in the house are fluorescent. They're long tubes. We still have some lights like this in most of our bedrooms, but yes, you screw the light bulb into the socket. Here's a common one, the zipper. This shirt has buttons, but I have a jacket that has a zipper. There's a few ways to talk about zippers. You can zip up your coat, or you can do up your zipper. Both work. You could say, oh, hey, do up your zipper, it's cold outside. Or zip up your coat, it's cold outside. So a zipper is a really cool thing. As you pull it up, it connects the two sides of the jacket or coat or shirt together. Very, very cool. And I think you can probably guess the next one. I kind of gave a bit of a spoiler. It's button. So you can button up your shirt. You can do up your shirt. You can unbutton your shirt. You can button up your shirt. So there's a number of ways to talk about it. You can button up your shirt, or you can undo a button. So I should keep this clear. You can button up your shirt, or you can do up your buttons. That's when you connect them together. Or you can unbutton or undo the buttons. There's a couple different ways to talk about it. So this guy he is going to do up his jacket, or he is going to button up his jacket. And snap. So a snap is not as common as a button. I do have one jacket, I think, that has snaps. With a snap, you push the two pieces really hard together, and then it kind of goes click. And then when you want to undo it, you pull it apart and it unclicks as well. So a snap is definitely used in the same way as a button, but is a different kind of way to attach two things together. Hey, let's look at some questions. I want to jump to the chat first because someone said something about seatbelts. And where did it go? Oh, Hanitra says, so we can use buckle your seatbelt instead of fasten your seatbelt. Excellent question. Fasten your seatbelt is also very, very common. It's probably the more formal way to say it. Like, you need to fasten your seatbelt or you could get a ticket. So excellent. And people having fun chat. Very, very good. Oh, I didn't know I should move my hand when changing a light bulb. I usually ask a couple of people to lift up the ladder and walk in circles. Yeah, that's another way to do it for sure. There's a joke about that. How many, you can insert whatever name here, does it take to change a light bulb? And it's like 100, 1 to hold the bulb and 99 to turn the house. So that's a joke. Formerly, what's called yeah. There used to be jokes where we would make fun of people from other countries. I don't like those, but that would be the joke. You can use it however you see fit. So from Renata, hello, Bob. What's the difference between stick to and stick with? Thank you, sir. It's my pleasure to connect to the internet every Friday to watch your lessons. So when you have something, you can stick it to the wall. So you can take a Post-it note and stick it to the wall. We have these special little things to hang posters up, and they are sticky on one side. You can stick them to the wall. Stick with and stick to can also be used to say that you're not going to quit. If you want to learn English, you need to stick to it. You need to stick with it. So in that sense, they mean the same thing. Let's see here. A little bit off topic, but I'll answer it. Good morning, Bob. I hope the things are well over there. Thanks, Fritz. This is from Fritz. What is the difference between hard and hardly? So if you fall on the sidewalk is hard. It's very, very hard, okay? That means that it's not soft. It's definitely hard. An apple is hard, but a peach is soft, okay? But hardly is used to mean like hard, not quite at all. Like it's hardly raining outside. That means it's just raining a little bit. Or you could say there's hardly any milk left. That means there's only a tiny bit of milk left. From Ruslan, not the first comment today. Hello, dear teacher Bob. No questions today, sir. I just want to thank you for the great lessons and have a nice weekend. You too. Thank you for the sunshine, the sunflower, and the, I think that's 2 thumbs up there. Thanks, Ruslan. I hope you have a good weekend too. And Mode says, yes, I was referencing that joke. Yes, thank you, Mode. Let's see here. Ralph says, how many software programs do you need to screw in a light bulb? None. It's a hardware problem. See, that's another good joke. I don't mind making fun of software developers because I used to do a little bit of that. From Kurdish. My lovely Uncle Bob, hi. Hi, Kurdish. How would you use the words join and fasten in sentences to describe bringing two things together? So when you join two things together, it doesn't, let me see, I'm trying to think the difference between join and fashion. I'm trying to think of an example of two things. Like if I had 2 pieces of wood, I could join those 2 pieces of wood together, or I could fasten them together. Fasten makes me think I'm using a screw or a nail or glue, okay? Join makes me think that the two pieces of wood are cut so they fit together nicely. So I would join two links of a chain together. So if I had two links of a chain, I would join them together. But if I have a piece of wood and I bang a nail in or hammer a nail in, I would say I'm fastening them together. So I think there is a slight difference between the two. Eduardo in the chat says, Bob, we started to watch your videos about 4 years ago so that we can improve our listening and vocabulary. It was a good decision for the reason that on the one hand, we really sharpened. So you sharpened your vocabulary skills. That is awesome. Let me see, from Ario. Hi, Mr. Bob, how are you? Do you have radio or a thing that you always use when you want to listen to music? Then connect the radio to your Wi-Fi connection. So I forgot to add this slide, Ario, but this is a good thing to talk about. You can connect things using Bluetooth. And we have two small Bluetooth speakers that we use on the farm. One of my kids has one and Jen has one. When she goes out to work in the field, she connects via Bluetooth from her phone to the Bluetooth speaker and she plays music. So yes, we do have a little device that we use for that, for sure. Okay, let's get to the next question here. I'm very much enjoying the questions today. Let's see. Eric, hello, Teacher Bob. Thank you for saying hi to me. It made my day. Hi, Eric. My question is, what's the correct form to describe someone putting bricks together, like Legos? So when you play with Legos, we often just use the verb play. Like my son is going to play with Legos. He is going to build something. He is going to put the bricks together or snap them together because they kind of click a little bit. You might snap together some bricks, but I would say put together. You know, I'm going to put some Lego bricks together and build a little truck. That's, I think, how I would describe it. Let's see here. From Sela. Hi, Teacher Bob. When a car breaks down in the countryside, someone else ties it to his car to take it to the mechanic or electrician. Have you had this experience? Yes, it's a little bit dangerous. And we usually call it when we would say that someone gives you a tow or tows your car. It's best to have a tow truck do this because they have all the proper connections and equipment to connect your car to the tow truck. But if you don't, then we would use the verb hook. They could hook a rope on your car and hook it on their car, or a chain, and they could give you a tow. That's the phrase that we would use, give you a tow. And yes, that has happened to me, but I call it tow truck. So from Mr. Azaz, what's the difference between whoever and whomever? So this is not on topic, but let's get an answer here. Whomever versus whoever. So we first of all use whoever a lot incorrectly, okay? We often just say whoever when we are supposed to use whomever. Let me find some examples here. Whoever leads today's meeting should set up the projector. I will go through the daily responsibilities with whomever gets the job. So there you go. There's some examples. And I think the difference is between, let me find it here. Yeah, I'm going to let this one be. It has the difference, but usually someone will jump in the chat. It's the difference between the subject of the sentence or acting as an object pronoun, I believe. Anyways, too much grammar for me this early in the morning. Let's see here. Mr. Sherwani. Seems like this isn't on topic, but it is. Hello, wisest Teacher Bob. How is everything with you? It's great. Do you still get in touch with your childhood friends? So you can connect with people. When you phone a friend you haven't talked to for a while, you could say, oh, I just wanted to connect. I just wanted to have a conversation. It's nice to be able to connect with friends. When I go to my teacher meetings in 2 weeks, I'll be able to connect with my colleagues again. So great question, Mr. Sherwani. I like it. Let's see. From Hung. Hi, Bob. I study English at middle school Vietnam, but most of my friends aren't motivated to learn English. Do you have ideas to help increase students' motivation? Thanks. I like interest-based motivation. If you have a friend or a student, or you know someone who isn't motivated to learn English, but they love football, watch a football game in English with them. If you have a friend or know someone who isn't motivated to learn English, but they love movies, go see an English movie with them. I think, and music is another good way to do it. Find the things the person is interested in and use that as a way to connect them with the learning. There you go. From Amran, hi Bob, how are you? How old are you now? I am 52 years old. I am in my early 50s. I do not feel that old though. I don't feel my age. I feel like I'm 35 most days. Most days. Dmitry from Ukraine says, hello, dear Mr. Bob. Great to be with you. My question is a bit off the topic, but can you explain what's the difference between forest and woods? Thanks in advance. So it depends where you live. In my area, we almost use bush, like he went hunting in the bush. So a bush can be a small plant, but a bush can also be the woods or a forest. So it really, really depends. If it's extremely large, if it's acres and acres of trees, I would probably call it a forest, or I would call it the woods. Okay. Notice we don't say a woods, like he went hunting in a forest or he went hunting in the woods. We don't ever say a woods for some reason. So very similar, definitely. Let me see here. Let me get through the questions and we'll get back to the lesson in just a minute. From Filippo, hi teacher Bob. When two people like each other very much, they get together, or are there other ways to say it? Thank you. Yeah, it depends on how you're describing how they get together. If they go on a date, if they go to a coffee shop or go see a movie, we would just say that they go on a date. They are going on a date. Do you have, oh, you're going out with so-and-so. That's how we say a name if we don't know it. Oh, is it a date? So that would be the first thing two people do together romantically. And I would have to do a much, much bigger lesson if I was to talk about all the other things. From Nancy, morning teacher Bob, the thing where you plug in electrical devices and the light bulb thing are called the same. No, in my area, we call the light bulb goes in a socket and you plug something into an outlet. And I have a slide for that coming up in a moment. Okay, I did want to try something here. Hopefully this doesn't annoy people, but I'm going to click a button and you might see an ad and I'm going to have a sip of water. We'll see if this actually works. So I've clicked the button. Who knows if you'll actually see an ad or not. I know you guys don't like watching ads, but YouTube, I think eventually will make it so I don't have a choice. So I thought I should just do one. You can skip the ad if you want. I'm seeing an ad on my screen right now. What's it for? Oh, it's for Wix. And it looks like the ad is only about 20 seconds long. And then when it's done, we'll go back to the lesson. I don't know if I'm going to do this all the time, but it was a new button and Bob can't help but try new things sometimes. So anyways, yeah, there's an ad on your screen. As soon as it ends, you should come straight back to the lesson. By the way, if you did see an ad, I'm going to skip the ads now because it's showing two of them. I don't want to watch a 1-minute ad. And not everyone will get the ad. And again, I don't know if I'm going to keep doing this. But anyways, there's a button. I think YouTube someday might make it always do this. I hope not. But some of you might have seen an ad. Some of you maybe didn't see an ad. So I would think most people would just click skip though, because they don't want to miss the lesson. Let me go back to questions and I'll do one more question. And then we'll get back to the lesson. Hopefully everyone is back. Sue says, or So says, hello, Bob. How can I listen to English radio? So most radio stations have a website and many of them allow people from around the world to listen to them. So if you can watch this lesson, you can probably watch or listen to English radio if you do a search for it. And then last question, and then we'll get back. Roseanne, hi Bob, can you explain how CAA works in Canada? Thanks. So this is the Canadian Automobile Association. It basically is a service where you pay a little bit of money every month. And then if your car ever breaks down, they come with a tow truck and they connect your car to the tow truck and they tow you to the garage, or if your battery's dead, or if you lock your keys in the vehicle. So that's what CAA is. It is a service. Let's get back to the lesson though. Plug. So I'm going to go over some of these very quickly. The plug is the part that goes in the wall. The outlet is where the plug goes. Now, this might be different depending on where you are. In my part of Canada, you plug things in to the outlet. Okay, so when you have a vacuum cleaner, it has a plug on the end. I hope the door behind me doesn't open during the lesson. The windows are open and it's a little windy. So that's the plug. If you want to use the vacuum cleaner, you find an outlet and then you plug it in. Okay, so you plug the plug into the outlet. I know it sounds kind of funny. And then when you're done, you unplug it. So let's review that. This is the plug. This is the outlet. This is how you connect it. You plug in what you want to use, and when you're done, you unplug it. And again, this might be different if you're in Britain or somewhere else, but for me, that's how I describe those actions. A jack. So on your phone, you might have, I don't think I have one. I think I have a port, which I'll talk about in a sec. But on my computer, my headphones are plugged into the headphone jack. So that little hole is called the jack. We would call the other piece the plug at the end, or you might call it a connector. That's the general term. But when you are wanting to listen to some music, you might plug in your headphones into the headphone jack. And now, what's the difference between a jack and a port? Not a whole lot. They are both little spots where you can connect things to usually a computer or a phone or some other device. These are called USB ports. They're the older style, the bigger one. There's USB-C ports now. So again, I don't know why they have different names, but this is a jack and this is a port. Sometimes you will link things together. Again, if you are making a chain, the actual piece is called a link, and the action of connecting them is the verb to link. So you can link things together. Obviously, it's hard to do when it's a solid circle, but if you had two pieces of metal, you could bend them, and then you could weld each of them, and then you would say that you have linked them together. Also a character in a video game, if you are familiar with video games, but link. Clasp. This is a bit of review from another lesson. A clasp is something you use to connect two ends of usually a piece of jewelry together. If you have a necklace, it will have a clasp on the back. If you have a bracelet, it will have a clasp. I'm not sure if we call this, I don't think we call this a clasp on a watch. It has a different name. I can't think of it right now. But if I was wearing a bracelet, it would most likely have a clasp that you would use to connect it together. So this is just a general term. If you open the hood of a car, there's lots of wires and there are a lot of connectors. So anytime you have two things that go together like this, we would say that this is a connector. Sometimes your van or car doesn't run right because there's a loose connection. So the mechanic checks all the connectors to make sure they're connected properly. Loop. So again, with Christmas ornaments, the first picture had a hook. Most Christmas ornaments, though, just have a small loop on top, and then you add the hook to the loop. So there's a few things that have loops. I have a picture back here. This picture has a little loop of string on the back. So if I want to hang it on the wall, there's a little loop of string. It looks a lot like that loop of metal, and you would use that to hang the picture on the wall. You would use this loop to connect a hook, and then use the hook to hang the ornament up. Puzzle pieces. So puzzle pieces go together. There's no exact way to describe. I don't know what the one piece and the other piece of a puzzle piece are called, but you connect puzzle pieces together when you do a jigsaw puzzle. And then, of course, there is glue. There are glue sticks, and there are hot glue guns. So glue is any substance usually a liquid that you put on something in order to connect it to something else or to attach it to something else. This person is going to glue together two pieces of wood. We can also use the word fasten. They're going to fasten together two pieces of wood. But generally, when you use glue, we use the verb glue as well. So if I had two pieces of paper, I could glue the paper together with glue. I might use a glue stick though. So a glue stick is a harder form of glue. It's not a liquid, and you just put it on the paper and then you can attach the two pieces of paper together, or you can glue the two pieces of paper together. There's also something called a hot glue gun. So a hot glue gun plugs into the wall and you put a tube of hard glue in the back and it comes out as a liquid hot glue at the other end. Don't touch the hot end, by the way. I did that once by accident. This is a very strong form of glue. It's a really good way to glue things together. When I need to glue something together for work at school and I don't want it to ever come apart, I go and get one of the hot glue guns. So liquid glue, glue stick, hot glue gun, all different ways to glue things together. And then of course we have tape. This is called masking tape. There's also Scotch tape, which is clear, and duct tape, which is silver. But tape is something that is sticky on one side and not sticky on the other side, unless you buy double-sided tape, which is this weird tape that's sticky on both sides. Anyways, tape is a great thing to use if you want to attach two things together. You can tape something to the wall. You can put a poster on the wall or attach a poster to the wall with tape. Although sometimes the tape will pull the paint off when you remove the tape, so be careful with that. Anyways, tape is definitely something we use to attach things together. Hey, we're going to do members only chat right now. Let me get to members only. For those of you that are members, first of all, thank you very much. Also, thank you to those of you. I put out a little notification to people about memberships on my channel. I'm not trying to push memberships too much, but I am looking for possible ways to do YouTube more and maybe in a year teach a little bit less at my full-time job. And that means I need to explore other ways of earning a bit of income from YouTube. So I'm just trying a few things out right now. The first thing I'm trying out is just mentioning memberships more. So memberships are when you click the join button below and you help support my channel. So you pay a small amount of money and you get lots of stuff. You get a lesson plan on Monday, a written lesson plan, instructions for the week. You get an extra video on Wednesdays. You get your name in green during the live stream, and you get to do members only chat during the live stream. So memberships are pretty cool. I am going to start to mention them in a community post once a month or so. The second thing I've started is private video messages. So this is a bit of a strange one for me. I've gotten more and more requests from people to do a short video greeting, mostly for their teachers. Some teachers use my videos in their classes, and sometimes students ask me to make a short video for their teacher just to say hi. I did one a few months ago for a gentleman in Germany who really liked my channel, and it was his 60th birthday. So his daughters asked if I would make a little video message. So I did that. And also sometimes teachers request that, can I just do a short video for their class? So not something that I'm super, it feels kind of strange saying, hey, if you click this link, I'll make a video for you, because I do charge money, but it's just another thing I'm exploring. And then the last thing is this: for my videos, this is specifically for teachers, I'm going to start creating study packs for most of my videos, which I will be selling. So this is just something I'm exploring. I'll stop talking about it right now because it's members only chat time, Bob. It's not time to talk about you. So let's go. In the chat, Ralph says, Scotch tape. Isn't Scotch a brand of 3M? Yeah, so we call clear tape Scotch tape. Even if you don't buy the Scotch brand, we call it Scotch tape. Let's see here. From Vitor, hi Bob. I think it's a bit technical, but we use the word fittings for pipe connections. I have a slide on that. It's coming up towards the end. Good one, Vitor. Elbow, T, Y, cross, etc. Just a small addition to the lesson. Yes, I just added that this morning. I added fitting and clamp. So that's coming up in the last part of the lesson. Amran. Oh, hi, Amran. I need to know how to pronounce your name for your video. Amran says, I'm great, Filippo. Thanks. How about you? John Wedge to Naomi T. Good to do get off social media sometimes. It is. I would agree. Mode. Hi, Mr. Bob. What's the difference between a socket and a light fixture? They would be the same, although if it's the type where you screw the bulb in, I would probably call it a light socket. If it's something where I put in a fluorescent tube, I would probably call it a light fixture. Or if it's one of the newer ones where it's LED and it's all one piece, I would probably call it a light fixture. But they're the same. Socket is definitely for screwing it in though. Fixture is more of a general term. Chris says, is there any difference between pronunciation, the word shut down and shot down? Yes. Shut and shot. First one is shut. Know that. I'm back. Sorry, my internet has some problems. That is no fun. I have luckily had very good internet for a long time now. So I'm happy about that. So hopefully know that it's not a problem that lasts. Filippo says, I'm very good. Thank you. Awesome. Naomi, I'm dozing off. Sorry for the delay in answering you too, John Wedge. Great people having conversations. I love it. Filippo saying hi to Amina. No, that says, oh, we're in the members only. Yes, it's members only time. Although Bob took the first 2 minutes yapping about himself. So I'll have to add that to the end. Let's see. Mode. If you were to get a private video message yourself, who would you want it to be from, Mr. Bob? Oh, anybody. Yes. Especially members. If any members sent me a private video, that'd be very cool. Caitlin. Hi, Mr. Bob. No question today. I just want to say thank you for the gift and the lesson from Colombia. And then Que Felicidad. I hope I said that right, Caitlin. Amran says, that's a good idea, Bob. It will still with us forever. It's a special video from the valuable Bob. There you go. Hafiez, green and a crown. I could get used to this. There you go. Filippo, another kind of tape is the isolating black tape that isolates and keeps cables together. Yes, we call it electrical tape. I should have mentioned that. It's usually black, and it's a special kind of tape when you are connecting wires together. So you twist the wires together, and then you can put what's called a moret, which is a plastic cap, or you can put electrical tape. Let's see. Amran. Hopefully Amran is correct. I'm going to look it up. Key Park. Hi, Bob. Is the cycle of exercise field called a loop? Don't know. Oh, we call it a track. So when you see people running at the Olympics, they're on a track. When you see people cycling, they're usually on a track if it's indoors. Mode. Hafiez, you have a long way to go before you get the purple crown. Yes, I'm flexing a bit. Wonder if there's more crowns now. I should check. John Wedge says to Mode, you told me you pointed to my username with an orange arrow in your latest video. I saw it now and for sure I felt important. Oh yes, in the video about memberships, I was grabbing screenshots and putting orange arrows on them. Know that. Hey Bob, this time I only want to say thank you, sir, for all the things you do for us. You're welcome. John Wedge, I hope to have one of my comments read someday too, Bob. No question today, just listening. Well, that's great, John. John, you must be an expert level English listener at this point. Hafiez says to Mode, oh, just realizing there are levels of crown. I thought it represented male or female. Haha, my bad. Yes, I think there's 5 levels. No, that says I'm on my handy now and it's not fun to write and listen. Yeah, phones. Sometimes it's just easier to do things on a computer, especially like video editing. I prefer to do things like that on my computer. Chris says, any difference between pronouncing the words fiance and fiance? No, they are the same. Fiance, there you go. Wanda, hi teacher Bob, what is the meaning of the attachment of property? Thanks a lot, have a nice day. So there's 2 things here. Property, in terms of like a piece of land, can be attached to someone legally, or you can become attached to something. I'm pretty attached to my watch. That means I really like it. Some people get really attached to their vehicles. That means they really like them. Or you could say, I bought that piece of land. It's now attached to my name. I own it. So a couple different versions there. Peter says, thank you, Mr. Bob, to teach us a great word. God blessing to you. You're welcome, Peter. Philippo says, Bob, are you going to watch Brent's lesson Under the Bridge? Yes, for sure. No, that says the Purple Crown is after 2 years. Yeah, I have to look up what all the lengths of time are, but I think you're on the right track there. Okay, let me get a question from the form. Let me get that on the screen. It's not showing up because... Oh, I popped it down. Hafiez, I'm 35, but I feel 52. I don't have social media. It's hard for me to reconnect to my childhood friends. No question, just weird random info. It is hard to reconnect with people if you haven't seen them for a while. I would agree with that. It can be very challenging to reconnect. So again, people can connect, okay? It's fun if you don't see someone for a while, it's fun to reconnect with them. So I would agree though, Hafiez, it is challenging to reconnect with people. From Hobart, morning teacher, in Canada, most of the houses are wood. What's the connect part look like? So the wood is nailed together. So with a hammer and nails, the wood is fastened together or attached together. We actually don't hammer our nails in anymore though. You use a nail gun, like pa-chink, pa-chink. I should do a video on sound effects. That is the sound a nail gun makes, like pa-chink, 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 and it puts the nails in. But that's how most, or screws sometimes. Let's see here. Mode says to Chris, hey, he gave you the same answer. John Wedge, I think I'm fine in English, Bob, and I owe a lot to you and your classes. Thanks a lot. You're welcome. Ralph says, know that where are you from? I always thought only we, I won't say that word, Germans call a mobile phone a handy. And Freddie says, hey, Bob, no question today. I'm just connecting my 2 eyes and ears. Yes, I only have 2 of them to your lesson in order to learn lots of new expression. Thanks, Bob. All the best. You are welcome. Hey, I'm going to turn members only chat off, but if you do still have a question and I see it in the next minute or two, I will make sure that I answer it. We're going to go back to subscriber mode. And I do want to just mention once again, first of all, thank you for being members. Oh, you can see it now. I'll demonstrate it. If you watch my video on my short channel, you'll see this gimbal in action. It follows me when I make a video. It's pretty cool. Anyways, memberships. What memberships do is they allow me to buy things I need to make better videos. So a second microphone for when Brent was here. This light, I like to turn it off when I say this light. Oh, it's very dark. That's what it would look like if I didn't have members. Ooh, that's very bright. Gimbals, tripods. I don't like to buy a lot of things, but I like to own the equipment I need in order to make good English lessons for you. So thank you, members, for joining and supporting me. It's very, very helpful. Let's get back to the lesson though. Oh, that's not the lesson. That's the lesson. Staples. So you use a stapler to put staples in, and you can staple 2 pieces of paper together. Let me say all of that again. These are staples. They go in a small little machine called a stapler, and you use a stapler to staple paper together. So staples, noun, stapler, noun, to staple, verb, okay? So I do this a lot at school. In fact, usually the photocopier does it for me. I push the button so that it staples my handouts together. But staples, small pieces of metal to hold or to connect pieces of paper together. And then a pin. If you want to put something on a wall, you might use a pin. A long time ago, when we used cloth diapers, people would use safety pins. Although safety pins are still used sometimes if you want to connect something to a piece of clothing. If I had a piece of paper that said, hi, my name is Bob, and if it was a sticker, I could stick it to my shirt. If it was just a piece of paper, I would probably use a safety pin. It's called a safety pin because when it's closed, you can't accidentally stick yourself with it or prick yourself with it. So a pin is used to put something on the wall, or you could use a thumbtack, and a safety pin is used to just attach something to something else. I think mostly with, the last safety pin I used was to pin something to my shirt. Rubber band or elastic. So these are the same thing. I think one of these words is more Canadian though, but it's a very stretchy, I would say kind of like a string, but it's rubber. And you use it to maybe attach a whole bunch of cables together. We put a rubber band on the bottom of every bouquet. When Jen makes a bouquet of flowers, we put a rubber band on the bottom. That is the action I use to do that. And we just call them elastics as well in this part of Canada. So I might have to go buy Jen more elastics later today. And of course, there's something called a paper clip that you can use to connect two pieces of paper together or more. These are common at schools and in offices as well. It's a little piece of looped metal that slides over the paper to attach them together. And we have twist ties. Twist ties are very useful for a lot of things. I actually used a twist tie to fix the windshield wiper on my van because the little hose that squirts windshield washer fluid out fell off. And I didn't have anything to fix it with, but I had a twist tie. So I used a twist tie. So it's a small little strip of metal, usually with plastic on the outside. And when you twist it, it stays twisted. So you can use it to attach things together. And then of course there's zip ties. When I got home, I actually used a zip tie to fix my windshield wiper. That worked better. Zip ties are much stronger than twist ties. But you can see it's called a twist tie because you twist it on. This is called a zip tie because it makes that zip sound when you zip it together. And just a quick review from a past lesson. This is a bolt. This is a nut. Sometimes you bolt things together. If you have two pieces of wood, you can bolt them together as well. If you have two pieces of metal, you can bolt them together and you would tighten the nut. So the action of putting a bolt and nut on, you use the verb to bolt. I'm going to bolt it together. And then when you're doing it, you tighten the nut. And then this is a screw. And then I believe this is called a fitting. There are a lot of different kinds of fittings. In the world of pipes and plumbing, there are a lot of fittings. Things that you use to connect hoses and pipes together. So this fitting is threaded at one side and it's a nipple on the other side. So you can put a hose on one side with a clamp and then you could screw a pipe onto the other side. So this is a fitting. And then this is a clamp. We sometimes call this a hose clamp. By the way, when I put hose clamps on, I like to use a socket instead of a flat screwdriver because when I use a screwdriver, it usually falls off and it's a little bit annoying. That's the official lesson, everyone. I'm going to answer questions for a bit. I forgot to say hi to the 355 people watching. Thank you for hanging out and learning a little bit of English. I do want to mention a couple of things. One, memberships are available on my channel. There's a button below. If you click it, it will explain everything. There's a video explaining what you get, and I think it's well worth it. What else was I going to say? This lesson will come out in a shorter version in a couple days. Great to rewatch to reinforce what you've been hearing and learning today. And what else was I going to say? Thanks to Dave for moderating the chat. Very, very nice of you. By the way, Dave's service as a moderator is almost over. He's helping out for a week or two yet. And then life has become busier for him as he gets through university and starts working more. So I do want to say thanks to Dave now briefly, but I'll thank him more when I figure out exactly when his last live stream is. But thanks, Dave, for hanging out for so many years, moderating the chat. That has been awesome. Let me say bye. Bye to Omran. Bye to Key Park, Vitor, Mode Eggs, John Wedge, Freddie Wolf, Lolly Lolly, 7413. Let's see here. Wright Winter or Winter Wright, Kufra, Eduardo. Let me scroll back here. Fatima, Hanitra, Ralph, John Wedge, Nathan, Nightbot, Naomi T, Filippo, Wanda Prado, Chris. I'm saying names twice now, but bye to everyone. Bye to Caitlin and Key Park and Ralph and Lolly Lolly and Liam and Julie and CK Chen and Svetlana and Miyaroki and Leonardo, Sophia, Irina, John Wedge, Wanda, Mode, Key Park, Fatima, Mario, Sad, Jonquil, Max. I'm saying bye to everybody today, apparently. Dimitri, Anna Maria, Lolly, Katerina, Loken, Cats and Kitty, everybody. Bye to everybody. Thank you so much for watching. What else was I going to announce? Can't remember. That's it. I'm just trying to get a few things done before summer ends and I go back to work. But anyways, Freddie Wolf says, bye Bob, c'est déjà fini. La connexion était trop brève. Yes, it was a very short and fun live stream. Anyways, bye everybody. Have a great day. I am going to click that button one more time as I end. Bye. The add button. Clicking the add button again. I'm just curious to see what it is.